back, everybody. Today we're going over the PTR 32 that we have right here in front of you that you've seen in the intro. This is the Gen 2 version of it. Now, Gen 1 came out a few years back, and the big complaint that most folks had, which I agree, very valid complaint, was the fact that it was really basically meant to use plastic magazines. So like Tapcos, some of the imported Bulgarian ones that were plastic, not the Circle 10, stuff like that. So a lot of folks who like the AK magazines and the ruggedness and the durability of it couldn't use them in this rifle, or the Gen 1 rifle, I should say. But PTR's fixed that with the Gen 2, so we're going to get into mag compatibility here later on in the review, but rest assured, it takes a whole bunch of them. So what we're going to do is do some more shooting, step outside, take a look at the accuracy that you can expect out of this rifle, because the G3 rifle, which this rifle's based on, it operates in the same system. It operates on the delayed blowback roll lock system, just like the G3 does. Is known for being a very accurate rifle. So we're going to see what kind of accuracy we can get out of this with a few different loads, then come back in and take a look at some of the details of the rifle. As you can see, we're doing a little accuracy testing here. That was the 123 grain Wolf full metal jacket. I'm shooting a target down at 100 yards. The reason I'm switching mags is I originally started with this mag, but for whatever reason the gun doesn't like it. So we're switching the mags out. No biggie there. Target's downrange at 100 yards. We have the primary arms scope on there. It's the 1x6 with the actual 7.60 by 3.9 reticles. So that's kind of cool. And we are going to shoot a couple more different loads in there. So next up will be the Winchester, the hollow point stuff. A lot of folks like it for hunting and even home defense, and I think it'd probably do pretty well in that role for this caliber. So let's see what kind of groups we can get out of it. Next up will be the 123 or 24, I'm not sure which grain, hollow points by Wolf. Let's go check it out. As you already saw from the other camera, we had some pretty good groups here, at least in my opinion, for this caliber. So the first one we had with the full metal jacket Wolf, right at 1.5 inches on the dot. Next up, moved up here, I believe, and finished out just right at 2 inches here. And then the last group with the hollow points, right at 2¼ inches. So all those groups in this caliber, in this man's opinion, are certainly nothing to complain about, and we weren't exactly shooting match ammo with the exception of one of them, so certainly it seems capable of pretty good accuracy. On the front of the rifle, we have the G3 style flash hider. It's threaded there, 15 by 1 on the barrel, so any of your standard HK style flash hiders for that thread pitch will fit just fine on there. The barrel itself is a 1-9 twist barrel, and this one's actually a tapered barrel, as you can see here in this photo when you remove the handguard. So it's a little bit lighter than what came on the Gen 1 PTR 32s, just trying to add a little, or I should say remove a little weight up front to aid in easier handling of the rifle. On the left of the rifle here, we have the sling attachment point. So if you want to use like a mash hook style of attachment point, it'll work really well on there because it is relatively small. We have our charging handle, which also unlocks the rollers. So like we mentioned earlier, it operates on a roller system. So to actually do that, you'll see how the bolt there just goes back a little bit each time you unlock it. And to charge the weapon, you can just pull it back, let it go home. Of course, you can put it in the up position here to lock the bolt to the rear while you're reloading. And then, you can just pull it back and let it go, is at what I believe HK and probably PTR as well says you should do. But nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to just do the HK slap and send it home because it looks cool. Continuing to move back, you can see the receivers marked PTR Industries. On the other side, it's actually marked South Carolina, which we'll get into a little bit later here in the video, not Connecticut. So some of the older ones are going to have the Connecticut markings on there. On the right side, we have our safe and fire mark. And we also have the same on the left side and the safety lever itself. Very easy to actuate. If you're used to an AR, it's second nature to you. So for right-handed shooters, it really is a very ergonomic setup. Speaking of ergonomics, the grip's also very ergonomic. This one here has the polymer lower. And additionally, one thing that's nice about this one over some of the other offerings out there, I believe even the Gen 1, this one has a 1913 style rail on there. So we've attached optics that you've seen throughout the video, and adding in the Magpul stock, it really does work well with optics. Of course, it's going to work well with optics without, but the cheek weld is a little bit better with that riser once you add those optics on there. The rear sight here is adjustable all the way around, so you can sort of open it up for a quick reference and quick sight picture, or you can dial it in at different elevations and sight it in that way. So different size peep sights, I should say, for different distances and different levels of precision. Basic field strip of the rifle is pretty simple. We're going to want to push these two pins out here, and you can do it with really anything. You can do it with your fingers once it loosens up, but on the newer ones like this one, they're still a little bit tight in there. So you're going to push it through, pull them out. On the original stock, you can actually put them in the stock to hold it captive, but again, we've put the Magpul one on there, which we'll get into here in a second. You're going to pull that out with your recoil spring and your buffers inside the stock itself. At this point now, we can remove our trigger, and now what we're going to do is we're going to just pull our bolt back, unlock it, pull it back, and just let gravity have it come out. And you can actually remove your bolt further and break it down. You can also take your trigger out of the lower portion here. All that's very doable, and I'm going to do it when I do a how to clean and lubricate the rifle video. But here I don't want to get into it just for time's sake. But that is the basic field strip of it. You can see these are our rollers that are unlocking as the rifle fires. And when you actually have them up in the rifle, they're very tight in there. When you have it disassembled like we do here, they'll loosen up and you can actually push it back, which will make it tight again, all those types of things. So it's a very interesting system, a very reliable system that's certainly proven its worth over time. One thing I suppose we'll talk about while we have it apart here is the trigger system. It's a simple trigger system, as you can see there. So if you guys want to do work on it and lighten it up, there's a million tutorials out there on how to do it. That's not what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you just the basic trigger pull of it. So when you have it on fire, it has a little bit of a take up in there, but once you hit the wall, for a battle rifle style rifle, it's pretty crisp. There's a little bit of mush in there, but this one breaks right at 6 pounds. So by all means, can't complain about that. It certainly aids in accuracy, which you guys saw there. It shot pretty well. So for a combat style rifle, it's got an excellent trigger. While we have it apart, I'm going to show this stock. And the reason I put the stock on there, a lot of times I don't change out anything on a rifle when I'm doing a review, but this one here, so many people are asking me about, do accessories fit, different HK style accessories. And so I decided to get a Magpul stock in to use it because I was using optics, and it's worked well. This is the PRS2 stock, got a lot of really cool features. You can actually adjust the length of pull here by rotating this, and the butt stock there will come out, as you can see, as the spot for quick detach sling systems. You can put it on either side. I put it over on the right side, and you can also adjust that cheek height, which is really nice. I definitely like that. It is a little bit heavy for sure, but it's a very, very solid system and works just fine on this rifle. It'll also work on most other G3 style rifles, but the installation, which I debated doing a video on, is going to vary a little bit by variant. However, it fits the vast majority of them that I know of. So it certainly fits this one and functions just fine, as you guys have seen. Now, it's an expensive stock, no getting around it, but if you want, you know, the adjustable cheek piece and stuff like that, it's very nice. I should also point out that most of the other HK style stocks will fit this rifle just fine. There's a lot of these out there. If you look in the HK forums, which is a great place to look if you guys are looking for a lot of information on this rifle, folks using the collapsible style stocks and stuff like that, which look really slick on this as well. So there's the world is your oyster, if you will, when you're looking at stock options for this rifle, because it's such a common platform. There's a lot of aftermarket accessories out there for it. The stock's nice, but one thing it does is add weight. Now, it adds weight to the rear of the rifle, which is probably the best place that you could add it. But the rifle is already heavy. I think it comes in at 9 pounds and 10 ounces, at least that's what mine came in at. But with the stock, it ups it even a little bit more. We'll put it on the scale here, and it's unloaded, but it does have some oil in there, so it's going to add a little bit of weight. And you can see it's coming in at 10 pounds, 9 ounces in this particular configuration. So it's a heavy rifle. The pros of that is that it makes it insanely light recoiling. I mean, it literally recoils probably half the recoil rate of what you're going to see on like an AK-47, for instance. It's even lighter than an AK-74. So recoil sensitive shooters, new shooters really are going to like this rifle. But of course, carrying it around all day, it is a little bit heavy. So pros and cons there. Time to discuss the mag compatibility, so let's get into it. We have a few different ones that I can tell you first off it doesn't work with. It doesn't work with any of the steel drums. It will work with the Pro Mag drums. I don't have any Pro Mag drums, but everywhere I've read says that it does, so I can trust their opinion on that. I do have steel drums, and it doesn't work with those, so that right off the bat is one thing to note. Another one that, generally speaking, it will not work with is the Yugo bolt hold open mags. Now, I have tons of actual Yugo bolt hold open mags, which this is one. So we'll show you kind of what I mean when I say it doesn't work with it. It goes to lock in, it just won't, it will not lock in. You have to modify it somehow to get it to lock in. So that's the actual Yugoslavian surplus mags. Now, one thing I did find that's very interesting is that this rifle, this mag I should say, which is a Gibbs rifle mag based on the Yugo pattern, works just fine in it. You guys have seen it throughout the video. So locks in just fine and comes out just fine. Now, one thing to note is that the Gibbs actually has a slightly different front lip on there. So that's sort of an interesting thing to note, that the lip may in fact be the difference in terms of how it locks in. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. However, that's kind of how it is. So they do insert by just rocking and locking like any other AK though. So here we have some Tapco slab sides. You're just going to hook it on the front there and lock it into place. And to release, you're just going to hit the tab here on the back to release it. Some of them are a little bit tight coming out. The Tapcos are one of them here. We could actually get it here, not on a camera angle, but it will come out just fine, as you see there. And then, like for instance, we have Romanian steel here, works just fine. You guys have seen those throughout the video as well. Comes out just fine. One mag that we saw during the accuracy test that didn't work, that was a Polish mag, and I have other Polish mags that work just fine. So it may just be a difference in, you know, variations between mag to mag. So P mags work just fine. You guys have seen those here as well. No issues there. Bakelights work just fine. This one here is a Izzy bakelite, but I've used Tula in it and it works just fine as well. Circle 10 AK mags, the Bulgarian ones, work just fine. As you can see there, you've seen them throughout the video as well. And I think I have one, yeah, hold on. One more around here to get. Let me pop this sucker out, and yep, Hungarian tanker mags. Those ones work just fine as well. So that's the mag compatibility issue. The vast majority, as you guys just saw, will lock in and function just fine. When using, I should say, mags that work with it, I tried to jam a Yugo one in there, and I actually did get it in. It was kind of a, it was kind of a beast to get out. We had malfunctions with it, even with it when it got locked in. So it does not work there at all. That and then that one mag that we mentioned earlier have been the only malfunctions that we've had with the gun. Now we've used M67 the Winchester ammo, Wolf hollow points, Wolf full metal jacket, and Brown Bear full metal jacket with it so far. All of them went in the right magazines, have fed flawlessly and ejected flawlessly and all that stuff. So no issues there once you find the mags that it works with. And again, obviously it works with a pretty wide selection of magazines. In terms of availability of these guns, these ones have been out, I think, since January 2015, so they're a relatively new offering to the market. That is the Gen 2 guns. I picked mine up over at Atlantic Firearms. They seem to have really good prices on them. I think they're actually the biggest distributor for PTR as well, which would explain the good prices. But I'll put a link below so you guys can actually go check them out if you're looking to pick one of these up. But really, all in all, I've been very happy with the gun. It is a fun gun to shoot. One thing I'll talk about in terms of shooting characteristics of it, and the heavy weight that we discussed earlier definitely aids in making it a soft shooting gun, as does the action of it, the delayed action of it. That aids as well. One thing that's really weird though, and I'll try to see if I can slow down some footage here slow enough so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about, is when the gun actually fires, you hear it fire, you feel your trigger break when you're firing, but because of the delayed action of it, especially in this caliber, being a lighter caliber than like the 308 that it was designed for, it's a delayed recoil rifle as well. So when you fire it, you shoot the gun, you see the round, you know, take off, the explosion at the end of the barrel here, and the gases come out and all that stuff. You see it, and then, you know, a millisecond later, you feel the recoil, which is very odd. Most guns, you know, you sort of feel it almost simultaneously. This one, there's definitely perceived difference, which is kind of fun and interesting. My wife shot it and really liked it a lot due to the soft recoiling action of it, and that's definitely a big plus for it for sure, as well as the accuracy that you guys saw here. So I'm sure some folks are going to say, well, why don't I just get an AK for $1,000? By all means, get an AK for $1,000. I have tons of AKs, they're great rifles. But this one here offers some different stuff, some accuracy benefits, the scope mounting benefits of it, other things as well. So to each his own, you know, it's a great rifle in its own right. And if you guys like AKs, get AKs. If you guys like delayed blowback roller action rifles, get one of these. It's pretty cool. So that's about it, guys. If you have any questions that I didn't answer below, by all means, post below in the comments section. And you can also post over at my Facebook page as always. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next video.